Hello and welcome everyone. Today we will take a look at the summary of episodes 14 through 25 of Season 6 of My Hero Academia. After the battle, we see some changes in the city and people are uneasy. Before the events, we see Redestro meeting with the Security Council, but we soon realize that it was an ambush. Of course, Redestro does not surrender and kills the head of the Security Council, causing chaos. We learn that Gigantomachia has been captured, the professor has been arrested, and most of the Nomu has been neutralized. Redestro is also captured, but he manages to escape with the help of Shigaraki's team. Momo, Mina, and others learn that Midnight and Majestic have died. Shigaraki is injured but plans a counterattack, ordering the Nomu to release his true body. We see that All for One is being held in a prison called Tartarus, and the Nomu attack the prison. The prison goes on high alert, but Shigaraki causes destruction everywhere. All of the prison fires back with firearms. It is in vain, and Shigaraki, using a flying Nomu, moves towards the location of All for One's body. When he arrives, he causes a terrible destruction, and All for One, who is using Shigaraki's body, realizes that he cannot reach his own body below with just the debris. So he unleashes an EMP attack to release the prisoners, and chaos ensues. Meanwhile, we encounter our muscular friend Goto Muscular. All of the prisoners escape, and All for One is among them. Bakugo wakes up in the central hospital, and everyone runs to him. Bakugo asks what happened to the others, and they promise to tell him everything. Gran Torino is resting in a wounded state. Mick is doing well, but as we saw before, Eraserhead had lost his leg and his eye is injured. Outside, everyone is protesting against Endeavor, while he is undergoing surgery. Shoto is slightly injured and promises to stop Dabi. Shoto's family visits him, and Bakugo stubbornly leaves his room to go to Midoriya, only to find him unconscious. We then go back to Hawk's childhood and learn that his father was a wanted criminal, and he had a difficult childhood. We return to the present, and Hawks wakes up next to Best Jeanist in a car, wearing a mask and speaking through his phone. Best Jeanist realizes that a criminal named Aboard Tonri is nearby and catches him. He also notices that many crimes go unnoticed due to the lack of heroes available. When Hawks returns home, he learns that his mother has left him a note, expressing her pride in him. Hawks takes his mask off and speaks normally, grateful that his vocal cords were not completely destroyed. A prison escapee named Sidehouse attacks a restaurant, but the people resist him, and a hero in the form of a washing machine rushes to the scene. We understand that citizens are using support items to resist villains. The number of heroes has decreased due to the war, and hero number 9, Yoroi, retires along with many of the other heroes. Endeavor wakes up and feels overwhelmed by the weight of everything that has happened. When Shoto, his brother and sister come in, he feels remorse of what he did to Toya Dabi, and apologizes to everyone. But he is startled by a voice, his wife Rei. She tells him that she wants to talk to him, and we see how they met. Their marriage was a quirk marriage. When Toya was born, doctors noticed something strange. His firepower was stronger than his father's, but he was not resistant to fire and was instead extremely resistant to cold. The doctors warned that he could burn himself, but Toya did not listen and constantly came home with burns. He became obsessed with surpassing All Might, and one day tried to attack Shoto. Endeavor decided to keep him away from Shoto, and as Toya's flames turned blue, he wanted his father to see what he was capable of. Endeavor became angry and slapped Rei, causing her to lose her sanity. One day, Toya was sitting in the forest when he lost control of his powers and started to burn. When his father arrived, he only found a piece of jawbone in Toya's place. Upon this, everyone in the family says that the only fault was not in Endeavor, and that they will stand behind him. Shoto reaches out to his father and says that they will stop Toya. At the moment, Best Jeanist and Hawks enter and want to learn more about Dabi. After a little conversation, they make a plan to stop Toya, and when they ask Endeavor about One for All, they get an answer from Deku, who is still unconscious. Meanwhile, in the world of One for All, Deku is having a meeting with all the users. He can barely speak and starts talking to the 4th user, Hakich, who had the power of danger sense. Hakich tells him that he died at the age of 40 and was the longest living One for All user because people with multiple quirks have a shorter lifespan. Deku says that it's impossible because All Might used this power for longer. When the first user asks why, Midoriya is shocked and says that All Might did not have a quirk before One for All. The first user reminds him that All Might had consciousness in the world of One for All without having a quirk, which is theoretically impossible. Deku realizes that he can no longer transfer the power to an ordinary person as previous users' quirks emerge, but there are no longer any non-quirk people left. Users ask Deku to kill Shigaraki Tamura, but he says that his power is not for killing but for saving. He has not decided what to do yet, but it's clear that he will do his best to not kill him. Meanwhile, All Might waits for Midoriya when Hawks and Best Jeanist enter to tell them that they think Midoriya has One for All power. All Might tells them that he will take them somewhere else and explain everything. Meanwhile, Endeavor admits that Toya is his son in a press release and apologizes, and Hawks explains that it was right to kill twice, but he did it to avoid more casualties. Endeavor says he will make it all right and gives a cool speech. We learn that Midoriya has escaped and left a letter for everyone, as they are after the power of All for One. In a devastated and fallen Japan, Midoriya is left alone. We see two heroes named Gran and Turtleneck, and they call the survivors to the shelter in the Taguchi building, but they refuse. When they leave the building, they see Muscular, and Gran and Turtleneck start fighting him. Muscle Gran has already beaten up nicely by now, and Gran launches a shocking attack against him, but it doesn't do any good to Muscular. Just as Gran is about to deliver the final blow, our crazy kid Midoriya shows up at the scene with his sexy mask and saves Gran. Muscle, happy to see Midoriya, becomes enraged and attacks him. Midoriya escapes, leaving Gran in the care of Turtleneck, and returns, during which we see him use his fog curtain power very professionally. He starts an incredible fight with Muscular, asking him about All for One's whereabouts but getting no answer. Midoriya notices that there's a problem with Muscular's muscles and lands a blow on him with 45% of his power. Two heroes, Boomerang Man and Mr. Smith, see Midoriya taking the unconscious Muscular away and take the unconscious Gran to the hospital. Midoriya takes Muscular to prison and returns to All Might, telling him about the situation, but sensing another danger, he leaves immediately. At night on a street, three citizens attack a young girl who they think is a monster, but Midoriya shows up and stops them. Midoriya offers the girl his umbrella and asks why she's wandering around. She says she missed the evacuation and is looking for a shelter. Midoriya tells her he'll fix everything, and All Might arrives and gives Midoriya some food. They take the young girl to the shelter. While watching over the city alone, Midoriya learns that he's close to using One for All at full power. As soon as Midoriya picks up his phone on top of a building, a bullet from a distance destroys it, and a bomb thrown at All Might's car explodes at the same time. When Midoriya looks back, he sees a girl who can fire sniper bullets with her hair-made bullets, Lady Nagant. Hawks has warned Midoriya about her. As Midoriya starts running at full speed, another bullet is fired, and he catches it with his hand, but then he is hit by another bullet. Midoriya realizes that running away is pointless and approaches Lady Nagant. We hear that Overhaul's father, who is sitting behind Lady Nagant, wants to go see him. Lady Nagant tells him to wait and hides him somewhere. On the night of the prison break, All for One tells Lady Nagant that he wants Midoriya, and we learn that Lady Nagant agreed to this. All for One gives Lady Nagant a quirk called levitation. Meanwhile, All Might's car is about to become scrap metal when All Might jumps out and confronts two villains. Midoriya is following Lady Nagant, and another bullet hits him from behind. Midoriya realizes that Lady Nagant has another quirk that has increased her range. He activates his smoke screen's quirk and uses another unique ability called Fajin. He sends a few decoys from the smoke screen towards Lady Nagant, distracting her and allowing him to get close and grab her. Lady Nagant retaliates and knocks Midoriya down, and he gets a bit more injured from a few bullets. We also learned that Lady Nagant killed the former head of security organization in the past. Midoriya predicts the trajectory of the bullets and approaches Lady Nagant. Lady Nagant realizes that the attacks are meaningless and targets Chisaki to distract Midoriya. Midoriya uses Fajin and 45% of his power to save Chisaki at incredible speed and then breaks Lady Nagant's gun at the same speed. As Lady Nagant falls, Midoriya grabs her hand and tells her to fight with them, believing that she still has a good heart. However, Lady Nagant explodes due to a bomb that All for One implanted in her. Hawks catches her just before she falls. Lady Nagant manages to open her eyes slightly and tells Midoriya, in shock, that there are still good people in the world, that she needs to take him to a mansion in Habori Forest within 2 months. When Endeavor brings Chisaki to the scene, Chisaki asks to see his father, but Midoriya tells him that Eri is the one who deserves an apology. All Might arrives at the scene shortly after. Later, when Midoriya and the others arrive at the mansion, they cannot find anyone there. All for One speaks to Midoriya through a hologram projector and says some crazy things before setting off a bomb. Luckily, no one is hurt. While Endeavor and the team analyze the situation, they learn that Midoriya encountered a second assassin and convinced them to turn against their employer. Midoriya hands the assassin over to All Might and witnesses a sad scene in the process. Midoriya has become a completely different person, in my opinion, incredibly cool and charismatic, and learns that support heroes from other countries will be coming to help. However, he is so cool that he doesn't need their help, and people start to fear him as he no longer resembles a typical hero. While hunting down all the villains in the city, Midoriya collapses one day and notices a villain, Dictator, attacking him with a group of people controlled like puppets. Bakugo, our explosion expert, arrives and gives Dictator a good beating. Suddenly, we return to the past when we learn that Class A students decided to follow Endeavor and rescue Midoriya after he escaped from school. Bakugo is not alone, and Class A arrives to save Midoriya. When Midoriya tells them that he's okay, Bakugo sarcastically objects, but Midoriya tells Class A to step back. Class A then confronts him, but Midoriya thanks them all before releasing a smokescreen and flying away into the sky. Koda and Sero try to stop him, but Midoriya continues to run. Class A does not give up and does everything they can to stop him. After a few emotional words, Midoriya breaks free with incredible power to protect his friends and continues to escape. Shoto creates a wall of ice to confront Midoriya, with Froppy there too. Meanwhile, Endeavor arrives and takes Dictator away. With tremendous power, Midoriya drives himself out of the ice and flies up into the sky. Grape Juice tries to hold on to him and continue with his emotional words, but Midoriya ignores him and uses his fake 100% power to fly far away. Bakugo manages to catch up to Midoriya's speed thanks to their teamwork, and Ida jumps up and holds Midoriya's hand from behind. Midoriya and Ida fall to the ground, and Red Riot catches them. Midoriya stands up and tells them that he cannot face them anymore, as he doesn't want to cause trouble for people. Bakugo talks to Midoriya about his feelings and apologizes for everything. Midoriya cannot stand on his own and begins to fall, but Bakugo catches him, and then they return to UA. Meanwhile, the people at UA are not happy about this incident, and they learn that the principal has installed an incredible defense system as a precaution. While the public opposes Midoriya's arrival, Eurivity explains the situation to them, and they begin to calm down. When they see Midoriya, they realize how much he has suffered. Kota and the girl whom he had helped before come to support him, and the public accepts Midoriya into their midst. Later, we see All Might in front of his statue. As he is about to leave, Stain appears and points at a sword at his throat. All Might is shocked but briefly returns to his former self to prove his identity. Stain doesn't believe him at first, but he eventually tells him some information before leaving. All the male students at the academy wash and clean up Midoriya. After getting dressed, Midoriya goes to the living room and thanks everyone. All Might arrives and informs them a battle is approaching. Midoriya says that they can overcome this battle together. Based on the information All Might obtained from Stain, they learn that terrible things will happen within the next 3 days. At the same time, they hear that the #1 hero of the United States, Star, has come to Japan and other heroes will arrive shortly. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. See you in the next video.